From the moment I first stepped into my father's workshop as a little girl, the smell of oil and the hum of machinery felt like home. I learned early that engines were more than metal parts. They were stories waiting to be told, challenges to be conquered, puzzles to be solved. My father, a master mechanic with hands that bore the history of every repair, never hesitated to let me turn a wrench. He taught me to listen to the engine's heartbeat, to respect its needs, and to trust my instincts. By the time I graduated high school, I could rebuild a V8 in my sleep. I watched my father's dealership grow from a one-bay garage to the busiest repair shop in town. People came from miles around because word spread that the mechanic's daughter was a prodigy. But pride never swelled in my chest. I would simply smile and keep working. Wrenches and spark plugs were my confidants, and the steady rhythm of pistons became the soundtrack of my life. Even with years of experience under my belt, I faced skepticism. After all, I was a black woman in a field dominated by men who often assumed I didn't belong. I didn't let their doubts weigh me down. Each time someone questioned my skills, I let my work speak louder than their words. When I turned 25, I got a job at Titan Automotive, a cutting-edge performance shop known for restoring classic muscle cars and pushing the limits of engine engineering. The shop was state-of-the-art with polished tools, diagnostic software, and a sleek showroom. I was proud to join the team, but determined to prove myself from day one. My boss, a former drag racer named Cole Maddox, was legendary for his risk-taking attitude and high expectations. He had a reputation for daring his crew to defy limits, trusting only those who earned his respect. In the early weeks, I worked tirelessly, soaking up knowledge and offering insights. I kept my head down and my hands busy, scanning data logs, adjusting camshafts, and fine-tuning carburetors. One morning, Cole called me into his office. The sunlight glinted off vintage posters of classic racers on the walls. He leaned back in his leather chair, arms crossed, and said, "I stood my ground. I'm capable, sir. If you give me the facts, I'll give you results." He eyed me, an eyebrow arching high. "I've got a challenge you might find interesting." He slid a file across the desk. I opened it to find the specs for a prototype engine from an experimental project that had flopped. Rumor had it the engine roared like a beast, and then died, suddenly its timing system shorting out and belts snapping under stress. The parts were rare, the tolerances brutal. No one in the shop had dared touch it since it arrived 6 months ago. Cole leaned forward. "I dare you to fix it. If you succeed, you'll head our new custom performance division. If you fail, you're off the team." Silence stretched between us like a snapped belt. I closed the file and met his gaze. "I accept." That afternoon, I climbed into the engine bay, tools in hand. The block was mounted on a stand, pistons gleaming, rods poised in mid-cycle. Wires and hoses were tangled in a chaotic web, a testament to failed fixes and abandoned hopes. I circled the engine, listening to its silence. I spent the first day documenting every detail, bolt sizes, torque values, wiring diagrams. I charted the failures, where the timing chain had slipped, where coolant leaked, where sensors misread. I created a plan. Replace the brittle chain with a new high-strength alloy, reinforce the tensioner, recalibrate the ECU, and reroute the coolant flow to prevent hotspots. The next week, I worked late nights. Under flickering fluorescent lights, I ground metal surfaces, polished cam lobes, and tested fuel injectors. My hands moved with practiced precision, each turn of a wrench a note in a symphony of restoration. I consulted with experts online, read technical papers, and stayed in constant communication with the parts manufacturer. Midweek, I hit a wall. The chain tensioner kept slipping under load, and the ECU maps would not stabilize. Frustration clawed at me, but I remembered my father's words. "An engine tells you what it needs if you know how to listen." So I listened. I watched the chain, under a strobe light, noted micro vibrations, and realized the tensioner roller was misaligned just enough to cause oscillation. I fabricated a custom guide using a bronze bushing to correct the alignment. That solved the tension issue. Next came the ECU. The old programming assumed a linear relationship between throttle position and fuel flow, but this prototype engine had a unique torque curve. I wrote a custom map, adjusting injection timing, and spark advance at each RPM range. I pulled logs after each dyno run and tweaked parameters until the data stream glowed green. Finally, I rerouted the coolant manifold, eliminating a dead spot that caused overheating at high RPM. With the coolant pump upgraded to a dual-stage unit, the engine now ran cool under race conditions. 2 weeks later, I stood before Cole and the team. The engine was mounted in a test cell, sensors hooked up, monitors humming. I strapped myself into the control panel like a pilot preparing for launch. When I flipped the switch, the engine roared to life with a deep, throaty growl that reverberated through the shop. On the first run, the RPM climbed smoothly to $8,000 without hesitation. Temperature and pressure readings stayed perfect. The torque curve was a steady climb, the sound a perfect note. Cole and the crew were silent, jaws slack. Then came the applause. Cole walked over, a slow grin spreading across his face. "I underestimated you." He clapped me on the shoulder. "Congrats, division head." I felt a surge of pride but kept my expression calm. I had earned this not just by fixing an engine but by proving the value of listening, perseverance, and innovation. As the years passed, the custom division under my leadership restored legendary cars, built record-breaking race engines, and trained a new generation of mechanics. I became a mentor, teaching young women and men that no challenge was impossible if you respected the machine and trusted your skills. The shop walls soon filled with trophies and newspaper clippings, but nothing meant more than the day I conquered that impossible engine. It wasn't just a mechanical victory. It was a personal triumph over doubt and a testament to the power of knowledge and determination. And it all started because someone dared me to try. That boss's dare changed my life, and now I dare you. When you face what seems impossible, lean in, listen, and take it apart piece by piece. You might just amaze yourself.